Everyone on the planet has told at least one lie. No matter how big or how small it might have been, it was still a lie. Can you remember when you were younger and you did something that you weren't supposed to do, and then you try to make up a story to tell your parents to prove that you are innocent? Lying is very easy to do and can become a habit for some people, which is why it is important to know how to tell when someone is lying or telling the truth. In order to tell if someone is lying, we must understand first why people lie. Then we will discover some methods to accurately detect if someone is lying. First, in order to tell if someone is lying, we must understand the motive behind lying. Some of the reasons people lie include to impress people, to achieve a positive outcome, or to avoid a negative outcome. People want to feel accepted by others and want to impress them. Thus, they tell just a little lie to give them an advantage or to achieve a positive outcome. National Geographic conducted research and found that about 44% of lies provide the person with some sort of advantage or benefit other than protection, as referenced in the article, Why Do People Lie? The Truth About Dishonesty. This can include exaggerating on a resume or job application, or lying about past experience. Another reason people tell lies is to avoid a negative outcome, like getting in trouble. For example, telling your parents a lie about something you did or didn't do to avoid punishment. Now, after examining why people lie, we can start accurately detecting lies. In an interview from Wired in January 2020, Jim Clemente, former FBI agent and profiler, discussed 3 specific ways to detect a lie. The first is called fight or flight. Your brain naturally tells you to either stand your ground and fight or to run and hide, flight. This causes your body to produce adrenaline, which makes people sometimes fidget or try to hide them in gestures such as scratching your head or combing your hair or picking your nails or such as tapping your foot. If you see any of these, it could be a sign of lying. The second method is cognitive complexity, which means people try to keep it very simple when they lie and forget to include specific details. When you ask them specific questions like what time they were at a certain place or what their surroundings were, they tend to trip up. Alder Rigi, a psychologist professor at the University of Portsmouth, states, "It's particularly useful to ask unexpected questions in interviews, because liars often prepare their stories. Surprise questions can leave them floundering for a response or contradicting themselves. It is important to get creative in an interview to know when to ask the right questions to trip them up." The third method is called perception management. This is where a person tries to act as normal as possible, so you have to look deeper to recognize verbal, nonverbal, and non-linguistic communication. Verbal communication can include words such as like, sort of, kind of, or maybe. These all indicate that whoever is telling a lie is not confident in what they are communicating. Nonverbal cues can include certain gestures like tapping your foot, or using your hands, or a change in posture. In a May 2019 interview with Wired Magazine Company, Joe Navarro, former FBI agent, says, "It's not about judging, it's about assessing what that person is transmitting in that moment. You must pay close attention to body language and behavior before asking the suspect any questions, and then during questioning so you can note any changes. For example, if someone is very fidgety at first and then becomes still when they lie, there has been a change in behavior that indicates something may be off." Lastly, it is important to pay attention to non-linguistic verbal communication. This can include a rapid change in pitch, tone, speed, or volume. As evidenced in President Nixon's speech about the Watergate scandal, he stated, "And I think, too, that I could say that in my years of public life that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook." His change in pitch and speed could illustrate his deception. Those are 3 key factors in determining and how to detect a lie. In closing, there are 3 main methods to determine whether someone is lying: fight or flight, cognitive complexity, and perception management. When trying to get the truth, it is important to ask lots of questions to get as many details as you can, while observing the person's behavior and then backing the information up from other witnesses. So while there's no foolproof way to tell if someone is lying or not, you now have several tools to help you better be able to spot a liar. And it's always good to remember that if you tell a lie once, then all your truths become questionable.